Under 10 minutes of entertainment and tech news is awesome. I always tell John that I feel like guilty because I'm usually only listening to marketing and PR podcasts. I just feel guilty because it's only 8 minutes. Like, why can't they give me 8 minutes of my time? It's really great, so you should check it out. As if you saw me earlier, this is the audio comment line for my show, which is called 6 Pixels of Separation, Twisty Maj podcast, all about digital marketing, new media, that sort of fun stuff. That's what John looks like. That's what I look like. We're not that interested. What are hot tactics? We've got a half hour, so let's kick through some of the tactics here. I'm just going to set the timer so we're spot on and everyone can go for lunch in time. Supper?
The bar.
Linking and trackbacks. Let's talk a bit about that. You want to start?
Sure, I'll start with that one. Yeah, throw the tech back to it. Linking and trackbacks is just, Chris Ben was talking about it, sharing the love. I mean, anytime you link to somebody else, that's giving them that's giving them Google juice. That's giving them something that the robots and the search engines can follow, and it's going to rank higher so that when people are searching for that kind of material, it rises up to the top of the list. Trackbacks is probably one of the most underutilized tools you can use in blogging today. How many people have posted a trackback? Over here, a couple. Okay, some services, WordPress does it automatically now, so you can take advantage of that. But the idea is that when somebody else is blogging, okay, they blog on something, and then you blog about that post. In your post, you say, hey, I'm pointing back to this guy's original post. And in a lot of software, what happens is when you tell them that that's on there, it will actually show up on that first blog down in the comments section. But what usually happens is these trackbacks are, it will usually show above the comments. So if you want to track back to Seth Godin's blog or something like that, you're going to cut through the riffraff and you're going to get your link to the top of the list.
Yeah, 2 things for me about trackbacks. One is it's an automatic reciprocated link, which I find works really well. It works really well for my blog, and I don't know if it's because it's been grandfathered into Google after 4 or 5 years, but I find that the trackback power back and forth works very, very well for me. The other thing that I'm seeing a lot of, personally, I don't know how you guys are feeling about this, but there seems to be a lot of trackback spam, and a lot of people are shutting down their trackbacks, which in a way is a bad thing, but in a way it could be a good thing because it means that there's less tracking back happening. When you're finding trackbacks, it's very effective. So here's what I do. Here's the sneaky tactic of the day for me, and I have many of them. One is, if I'm writing a blog post on, let's say, PodCamp Toronto, I'll probably do a Google search right away, see who else is talking about it, and see if they have trackbacks. If they're ranked really highly and they have trackbacks, I'll add them into my trackback. So that person sees it and goes, wow, Mitch must have read my blog post, and even if I did or didn't, and I'm using that trackback because I know it's got tremendous Google juice because it's a top 5 ranking. So I'll do that a lot. Even if I'm talking about general topics, if I'm doing something on digital marketing, I'll Google digital marketing, see who's talking about it, and I will track back to usually 4 or 5, sometimes 6 places. And that's worked really well for me in the past. It's a bit tighter now. It's not as easy, but it does work. Linking, I don't like link baiting. You guys know what link baiting is, which is sort of create this page that's got links in it that makes other people want to link to you. So that you've seen those things like memes, like top 5 things you don't know about me and stuff like that. To me, those are sort of link baits. What I like to do with linking is, and it just comes from my search engine optimization background, is anytime I do something, it's like anchor text, I want to make sure it's very, very clear what it is. So I'll never say the conference or the unconference. I would say PodCamp Toronto 2007, very, very clear, keyword-rich anchor text, which then you hyperlink. So you set up the link within that anchor text. And I'm big on that. And even if you want more advice in terms of text, which I guess we'll get to SEO in a bit, but I'm a big fan of never doing that. Like at the seminar today, I will repeat PodCamp Toronto if I think it is keyword rich 7 times in a post. Now, if you read my blog now, you'll be like, oh, I see what you're doing. But if you read it just sort of regular without knowing it, you wouldn't get the vibe that I was sort of, really not dumping in keywords because you don't want to be pumping them in to the point where it's unreadable. But you want to make sure that you're leveraging it. It's very, very important. So that's
one more I wanted to hit with that is Amazon. If you do books that are on your topics, if you do reviews and put links up on there, that's there's guaranteed traffic coming in from there.
And another one, see, this is what happens when you prepare. I knew he was going to say that. LinkedIn, right? We keep talking about LinkedIn. Just raise your hands if you're on LinkedIn. Yeah, like how many people have their profile at 100% complete? Okay, so you really want to spend 20 minutes getting it complete. Like I've dumped in so many keywords and stuff, it's really hard not to find me. And on the reverse side, I'm noticing when I ego surf on Google that LinkedIn profile rocketed up when I really completed the profile. It's pretty insane. So in the areas of interest, you can even put stuff like PodCamp and podcasting and I've got crazy stuff in there. Like I really loaded it with my not-for-profits that I'm involved with and everything. I want to make sure that I'm connecting to the right people within LinkedIn, but I just find that it's also just moves you right up. So a lot of popularity there. Promo trade-in.
I started one. You
go start.
Promo training is that you find other podcasters, send them a 30-second spot on yours. So this is a great chance to just get your name in there. There's a couple different ways to go with this. I mean, one, if you send it to similar podcasts, that's going to be your highest rate of return. If you're Julian Smith, you're doing hip hop, and you can send your promo and get it played on some other hip hop podcast, that's the best you're going to get. But that pretty much comes down to, are they Web 2.0 people? Do they want to share the love, or are they not going to want to give up their audience? Yes.
Exactly. Promo trading is you do a 30-second, 2-minute audio clip that you send to a podcast that you like. So I'll give you a great sort of transcription of one. Inside PR. Do you guys know Inside PR? You would if you were in my world. Terry Follis and David Jones. Terry Follis decided to podcast his book instead of getting it published. So podcast chapter by chapter. So I get a little MP3 file from him saying, "Hey Mitch, this is Terry Follis of Inside PR. I just want to let you and all the listeners of 6 Pixels Separation know that I have a new book out called," what's it called, Donna? Best Laid Plans. It's at terryfollis.com. I'm podcasting a chapter every week or whatever it is, and it's really not about marketing or PR, but I think that your listeners, if they will like this, and it's just a promo. And it works really, really effectively. I know that, think about if you got that from a friend or someone you knew, you'd be like, yeah, I'd play it. You want to help out the community. But it creates a great marketing tool. I know that when Inside PR launched, one of the largest PR podcasts in the space is for immediate release. And, talk about cooperation, right? The guys at For Immediate Release were happy to play this promo saying, hey, it's Terry and David from Canada. We're doing a PR podcast focusing on the space in Canada. And that's what built their initial traffic base. Yeah, email. As long as it's under 4 minutes in MP3 size, it works out cool. I mean, Mark Levis, I talked about Just One More Book. He sent me over a promo for my show. Like, how many of my listeners are interested in, book reviews from children's books? I don't know, but I'll play it. There might be a couple, I'm sure, that are parents. So they're very effective both ways. Very, very big. Promo trading is huge, and guilty. Like, I don't do enough of it at all, and I really should. If you listen to Daily Source Code, you hear them all the time, right? People calling and saying, hey, this is, Amber Mack, and next week I'll be talking about this. Hope your listeners can join in. And some of them are pretty well produced. It's pretty awesome if you follow them. Any other things on promo trading? Any other great stories you've seen on promo trading? Has anyone seen any that just were awesome that you want to share? Good. Okay. Perfect. Did you have one, Luke? You just wiping your nose? Okay. Hey, look at that, Mark. Check it out. I don't know how obvious or inobvious this is, but if you really want to market your podcast, I thought Julian did a great job of talking about this before, is you need text. You need to get it ranked in Google. You have to put it in a blog. You got to wrap it in a blog. You got to make it look like it's its own life. I mean, if you look at Just One More Book, it really looks like a whole experience. It's not just that audio file. So you got to promote it. Part of the promotions I talked about earlier in personal branding is that experience. You can feel what this is about when you come to it. Really powerful. Anything you want to?
Yeah, I was just going to say that when you look at video, podcast, and text blogging, podcasting is the least viral. It's the most difficult to share podcasts with other people. I mean, you have to email them a link, or they have to find it some other way. Blogging is probably about 4 times more viral from the tests that I've seen, and video even more viral than that. So if you can leverage the other 2 channels, that's going to help grow your show, a lot faster.
Yeah, and marketing it. Just check out the whole marketing that's going on here. Subscribe to it, regular feed, iTunes. The phone-in number, so people get community participation. Ichingo, which is now Mobitalk. I think they're here. Is Mobitalk here? Are they around? Okay. Oh, good, perfect. Well, stay here. You can actually leave a voice message as long as your mic is plugged in right on the blog. It's just really, really powerful. Really good for search. And I love all this stuff. Like play and pop-up is one of my favorite things to market your podcast. What happens is, obviously, the player comes up in a pop-up. You can minimize it and keep surfing without losing the show. So very, very cool. Like all this stuff, making it easier for your community to get engaged in your podcast is a huge way to market it. So it's very, very powerful. Video?
Add video. That's it.
That's it. You're done.
Yeah.
Really?
I mean, yeah. One more answer do. Yeah. Add video.
I don't know if you could say something better.
I could say something. All right. Yeah. I mean, video is probably 10 times hotter than podcast as far as pass through. If anybody's who's posted on YouTube? The people that have. All right, so there's some folks.
Shameless YouTube posters? Constantly.
Shameless, excellent. It's a different audience, so it may or may not work that well for you. You have to test it and try it, but definitely test it. Get out there and give it a shot because it's going to run if it's any good, if it's close.
What I'm loving about this is that there's obviously YouTube, 100 million plus videos are viewed a day. It's a great place to go. There's tons of other places too, and I think what happens when we say add video, people think like onto your blog. Yeah, but you have this video file, share it. Share with other people. Other people's blogs or podcasts might want to play it because they know you and they like you and they want to hook you up. And because video is also new, it is very cachet. So it's something that like, oh, I never got a video promo before. I would definitely play that because it's just something we're not used to seeing as much of, believe it or not. And you don't see a lot of it right now. So hopefully some of you podcasters out there will do some video promos because I think they work. How do they work for you guys? Are they good?
Video promos on
Yeah.
YouTube?
We haven't actually done video promos. We've been posting up our episodes.
No, we put up trailers.
Oh, yeah.
Trailers?
The problem is,
So there you
once
go.
you put something on YouTube, everyone wants it on YouTube, and then
Right.
and YouTube sucks for copyright issues. So, we
But have
hate
you
doing it, but
used them to
everyone wants
have
it.
other video bloggers like send them
Yeah, we
to
had a
them?
pretty good response to that episode when we had that. What we actually did was posted. We put our own codes for people to share on our website.
Okay,
We found
cool.
that was pretty good for getting people to do it, as opposed to just go to the YouTube version.
So they put their own code on the website for those who couldn't hear. Awesome.
So and then that worked out where people said, oh, we actually put out like 3 different trailers, and people said took the one they liked because we have a comedy show, and so we had one trailer that was Oscar worthy. Like it made our show look like really dramatic and Oscar like. It's a comedy show.
We just gave them a choice of different trailers, different genre of trailers.
Okay, cool. So yeah, it's just, you got to be creative, right? Like the whole point of the session for John and I, we were talking about it, was just to create some sparks for you guys to look at stuff like, what am I not doing? Like there are so many things when we did this presentation, I just made a list because definitely not perfect for sure.
Have you guys tried Rever at all? Have you used Rever?
Yeah, actually, the embed codes that we have on our site, we chose to use Rever so that we could get.
And is that making money for you too? I mean,
We actually just launched it this week.
Okay, glad for people that don't. Rever is like YouTube, better quality video, and they'll run a commercial at the very end, and you'll get paid on that pay-per-click. I know the Tiki Bar guys are getting paid pretty well off that, and so you might want to check that out if you're, disappointed with YouTube quality.
And if there are video blogs that are related in your space, they might do like a 30-second pre-roll just to sort of set the show up. They might think it's cool, so it's another space too. If you know they have tons of traffic, they'll dump it on their show, so it's pretty good. Hey, look who's there, Bob. Flickr, you're coming to these events, people want to see the person behind it. They want to know that you're human. They want to connect. I think the whole star power thing that I'm seeing online, at least, is mostly related to how human you are and how authentic you are and how transparent you are. And the more you sort of hit those, which is very anti the sort of standard star roles that we're seeing, I think the more people can connect to you because they see that you're just like them, and you are, right, at the end of the day. So, I'm terrible. Like, I don't take a camera with me when I go on vacation, but if it's the thing you're doing, and I was just looking at tags on Flickr, it's a really powerful way to get promoted. Very, very powerful.
Yeah, Christopher Penn from the Financial Aid Podcast was just talking about Flickr. This is the biggest social networking site that does not use no-follow tags. So you will get Google credibility if you put your links up in Flickr. Those links will actually still be followed. So this is kind of the one last resort for spamming your own links and actually getting some action out of that.
And we also wanted to just make sure that CC Chapman had a presence here, so that's why we put him up there, yeah. Email and newsletters. This is where we start getting into what I call traditional online, right? Like banners, email, and search. And email is still tremendously powerful. I really want to stand up here and tell you, do not discount the power of email. We do a lot of email marketing at our agency based out of Montreal, and we get tremendous ROI, not just for our clients, but even for our own news. So even if something newsworthy happens, we've got a list of friends, family, and clients that we send to, and it's PR, right? Marketing includes public relations. Your job is to get your voice out there, have people hear and connect to you. And email newsletters can be great because it's stuff that, if you ever really follow the content, it's different content than you would do in a blog. It's different content, video, audio, it's very, very different. It could be collections of articles that you have. You might just want to grab off the list and sort of put some thoughts against. But people will remember you because of how often it happens, your frequency. So if you're doing it weekly, monthly, even if you have people coming up on your show, build that list. Also that data, that information, it's valuable to you. If you ever want to do merchandising later on or anything like that, and people are probably saying merchandising, you never know. You might come up with a great term, and you could sell a couple hundred t-shirts. Might be fun, right, Julian?
This is this is building your house list. This is the best asset you can create for yourself. And then you can even use a free service like Constant Contact or something like that, so you can maintain your list, and you're going to know who's reading. You're going to know who's clicking through and what they're going to click through, and you can even categorize your subscribers based on their interests. So this is the best way to get a one-to-one touch, well, closer to one-to-one touch to everybody that's involved in it.
On friends and family email, we get an opening rate of about 20%. How's yours?
Yeah, I mean, it depends on what we're doing, but we've had open rates with clients of up to 80%.
Really?
Yeah, crazy stuff, because they're opted in because they're interested and they want to be a part of it. And we've seen some pretty scary stuff. Email, it sounds crazy because I'm really into it. It's very, very effective. It's a very, very powerful tool. And I think people don't realize you could take all the content in your email, dump it into its own RSS feed, and people could just be subscribing to this news part of your brand. And there's so many ways that you can sort of skin the cat with this. The reason I put this one up here, this is Jeffrey Gittermore. He wrote a book called The Sales Bible, and he's very outspoken, he's very energetic. But what he did in this, which seems so, 1.0 to us now, is he has a thing in here called The Sales Rant, and when you click on it, it would go to a video where it's just him for 2 minutes giving some sort of concept on sales for sales guys. So yeah, we have video blogs now for sure, but back then, a couple years ago, we didn't, and even now, people don't necessarily know what a video blog is, how to go to iTunes, how to subscribe to it. So he's actually taking like a 2-minute video clip, dumping it into his e-newsletter, and it's a link. It goes right to his site. There's a pitch for his business, but it's great content. It's funny, it's irreverent, and it's 2 minutes of power every Monday morning. So what I'm trying to do is get you to think also about the opportunities to bring in stuff like audio and video into these traditional online channels, because they do work. They're very, very effective. What else have we got for you? Oh yeah, my girlfriend again. She's back. Chris was talking about this before. Use these online social networks to connect. I think MySpace is great. There's, I know from my angle, when I look at the marketing community in MySpace, it's insane. There's millions of people out there.
Yeah, no, this is just a market to be exploited, basically. I mean, if you've got, especially if you're, music frontage, you just get in there. There's a bunch of things you can do. You have search functions, so you can find lists of people that are interested in the same genres or the same age group, same geographic location. All you need to get is their friend number, and there's tools that you can use to automatically send them invites. You can just grab a whole list of them and fire them off all at once.
I'm just wondering, anyone here use MySpace as a marketing tool? How is it in terms of efficacy? Like, is it good? Is it effective?
Oh, well, we don't spam anyone.
No, I'm not asking you to spam. But.
Yeah, I mean, some people do though. But we do send out a bulletin every week once we have our thing, and we say, new videos, so people know what they're clicking on. They're not.
And it's got some attention stuff, and mostly like when you find someone who connects your house to somebody else.
And then we'll put underneath the video, we'll put comment, so they can click on it. It'll take them back to the original site, and they can comment.
It's good. If you hear that, it's sort of getting interesting, because what is link baiting at this point?
Yeah,
Where you're doing all this.
We don't like MySpace as a central location, for what we're doing. I mean, obviously we want our central location to be our actual website.
And that's a great point. So it's like a toolbox. This is like a wrench. So it's one tool in the toolbox, and in these quick 30 minutes, we're just going to dump a bunch of tools on the floor and hope you guys can figure out some of them that would be more effective for you. Anyone else want to talk about MySpace in terms of how it works for you, Bill?
Well, I was just going to say there are other social networks, I think.
For sure, yeah, I was going to get there. I think, is that next?
Oh, sorry, okay.
Yeah, there's Facebook.
I get 5% of my podcast traffic from LinkedIn.
5% of his podcast traffic from LinkedIn. That's really interesting. So Facebook is sorry?
That's significant.
Yeah. Facebook? I don't really have much experience
Yeah,
with it.
that's-
Anyone
all these crazy
playing with
kids.
this? All these crazy kids, yeah. How's that working?
It's working well. Like I'm with the not-for-profit, so the way that we do it, like we're linked into all the universities and colleges across Canada. So it is working quite well, and we're getting tons of hits. So, but this conversation is just furthering more so.
Yeah, I mean, again, just trying to, you're burrowing, right? And it's a rabbit hole, the web. And you just want to keep going further and further down the rabbit hole until you really start seeing what works and what doesn't. One of my partners at my business says it's like a bunch of faucets, and you're turning them all on, and then you're turning one down and turning one off, and just which ones are working, you're turning off. You have to be able to be very dynamic and fluid. Always also, we didn't speak about it enough today, but the analytics behind it. You got to be watching the stats. Where's the stuff coming from? people sort of get hung up on brands sometimes, and they're spending like a whack load of time on MySpace, and they don't even realize none of the traffic's even coming from there. It's coming from somewhere else where they should be spending the bulk load of their time. So make sure you're really analyzing where those links are coming from, how they're working, and what your traffic is really at the end of the day. By the way, numbers don't lie. I can't tell you how many times we've done tests like on email campaigns, and you're testing subject lines, and I'm like, for sure it's going to be that one, and just you're so off, and you can't figure out why. It's just the human psyche, you know, the wisdom of crowds will dictate what the best tool is. So like, let it sort of happen from there. LinkedIn, this is my more updated one, I guess, because in the morning I had my 400 one. This is my 500 one. But this really shows you the power of how you can connect. You know, this is like 1.1 million people in the network. And that's only like, 500 seems like a lot, but I mean, I see people who've got 2,000 first degrees. And it's just a question of working. I wonder, is Chris here? Is Chris Penn? I wonder how many LinkedIn friends he has. He must have.
Well, he's not working as hard because that's not his demographic.
Right, that's true too.
But he is working it.
But like, if you, for example, LinkedIn, one of the things I've done is I've actually made one of my titles, because you have like your titles, host of 6 pixels of separation. So how many podcasters in here have their podcast as its own individual job description? Right? Okay, now how many people in here are on LinkedIn? And how many people, keep your hands up, how many people in here are on LinkedIn and are podcasters? So there, I mean, it needs to be a job description. So people know you're the host of, and what the show is. It's just very, very rich. You know, LinkedIn, the way it's working, the way it's connecting with Google is really powerful. You might get so much traffic just from that being in the search engines. So don't dismiss, there's always the back end and the front end, and we'll talk about that more in the SEO part of it, which is right now.
All right, fantastic.
All about search. This is what it's all about, right? People have to find you. Word of mouth is great, but search is just tremendously powerful. Do you want to talk a bit about?
Yeah, sure. I mean, this is, you know, your leading inbound traffic. You've got 2 major areas where you can score. You've got organic traffic, so if somebody just types your name into Google, you come up on the left side of the page. Your goal is to get to the top slot on that page. I mean, that's where you want to be. You also have paid placement, which is over on the right side of the page. You can actually place ads and you can buy keywords. So you
Before
can
you go there, I'm just curious, how many people have paid placement for their stuff? Yeah, you see, it's a wide open area. What are some of the terms you have, Bill?
Sorry, I do. Sorry, internet marketing advice, internet marketing expert.
Internet marketing advice, internet marketing expert, what else?
Oh, I got hundreds.
You see, and like, what's your monthly fee? Like, what are you paying for that?
Oh, I'm North America, $10.
$10.
I get $100.
So he's first page Google for all of those terms for $10. Aren't we all embarrassed? No, but it's true, right? It's true. It's always, because it's not sexy to do Google AdWords, but it's so powerfully effective. Someone had a question back there? Or no? Okay.
paid placement, links, keywords. The biggest thing you can do with your own site when you're looking at your blog, make sure that you have links to everywhere else in your site. Okay, so the reason you have an archive section, nobody ever goes drilling through the archives. They go and search for what they want. But the search engines need the archives so that they can get back to all your old content. And that's going to give you the most Google hit there. The search is, we could talk about this for a day and a half. So
but we'll talk about it for a couple more minutes because I think there's so much more to talk about. One of the big things for me with search is keyword relevancy. And what you need to be looking at on your web stats, like I use Austats, which is just a simple free web server-based ads website stats, is I'm always looking at what keywords people have used to find me, and then I'm making sure that I'm using those keywords again and again in my posting, right? I mean, that's the simplest way to do it. Like, how the hell did this person find me? If you go into your stats, you can actually see that. So, for example, instead of using online marketing, I might switch to digital marketing because I know that more people are looking for me like that. Yes, sir.
Just as a personal experience for our own show.
Maybe stand up so everyone can hear.
Oh, just as a personal experience for
You have
our
a
own
nice
show,
voice.
Oh,
strangely,
Yeah, we do. We're still doing it. Look on Video Sexy.
and that's strangely our show gets shown up there
So
as the
all
number
these
one
foreigners that
word.
think I want sexy video.
They-
want video,
unfortunately, they get you,
I
right?
want video.
And
Yeah.
that's because we've really search engine optimized our site, and so we just put up a video that we called Video Sexy, and the next thing you know, because
And
everything's
the reason
so
we called it
optimized.
Video Sexy was because it was on our blog separated from our regular videos.
Right.
We wanted our audience to know there's a video here. So,
Yeah, I can't, I wrote about that. Have you guys seen the Coke Grand Theft Auto commercial that was on Google, on YouTube? It's a great commercial. If you want to go to YouTube, Grand Theft Auto Coke. And I blogged about it months ago. One of the big things I do is, Julian talked about it, Chris talked about it, is you've got to make sure that your titles are very keyword rich. So one thing you'll notice with me is I do not mess around with my titles of my blog postings. I will not call them, yo, sup, at PodCamp, I won't do that. I will do PodCamp to Toronto 2000. I'm very, very conscious of those first couple words being extremely keyword rich. And so for the Coke ad, I had Coke, Grand Theft Auto, great, TV ad, awesome. Like, even if it may not make sense as I say, but when you read it, it looks fine because you put in hyphens, you make it work. I'll do little things like I will not put commas after keywords because I want to make sure that if someone looks for just that key phrase, those 2 words, there's not a comma attached to it. Like, I do tons of stuff that focuses on making sure that works. On your blog, if you look in the title in the actual URL, like ours isn't there, we're updating it now. Like mine now says archive 000 because it's pulling it from a database. You want to try and have that title be all those keywords. So imagine when your URL is www.twistimage.com/podcamp/Toronto/, it's very, very keyword rich. So like I could stand and talk about things you could do in your blog to be more search engine friendly for days, but I won't. But I will tell you this, and don't be embarrassed. I've done this. The Dummies Guide to Search Engine Optimization, I'm not kidding you, the Dummies Guide to Search, everyone should have that. It's very, very basic, it's very, very easy, but they tell you great stuff. You know the Dummies Guide? Dummies Guide to Search Engine Optimization, I kid you not. I'm sure all this information is available on the internet for free, but if you just want a book to have, it's excellent, it works well. Paid placement, I want to just talk a little bit about that. Your name, your brand, maybe your competitors in terms of podcasts. One thing I would be interested in testing is, if Across the Sound, Joseph Jaffe, maybe I would take Across the Sound and have a keyword there. If you like Across the Sound, you'll love 6 Pixels a Separate, and I would obviously call Joe and see if he'd be comfortable with that. I wouldn't do it sort of as a competitive thing. But you want to do that. Marketing podcast, digital marketing podcast. Make the list. See, people are typing these things in. They're looking. It happens all the time.
Can I just highlight something you just said? That is checking out what your competition is using as your keywords, and even using your competition's name in your keywords.
Yes.
Because we did that, and we did it in 98, 99.
Right.
And we got away with it. You can't do it now. But there's things that you can try, you can get away with as a hobbyist.
Yeah, absolutely. And domain names acquisition too. Like make sure you've got tons of domain names. Very, very powerful. More suggestions.
Actually, one thing that we've been doing is, because we have a parody show, then we put inspired by, and we write everything that inspired us to write our parodies. So that's a good way for us.
Very keyword rich. It's very, very powerful. And I'm a big fan of domain names. I find they work very, very effectively. I think it's a perfect storm thing, right? Like I think you need great domains, great keywords, great linking. It's sort of like, and you have to sort of be a little lucky. You got to make sure you're on the Google Sandbox. You guys don't know what the Google Sandbox is? Does it still exist, or we don't know?
Always.
So what is it? 3 months to a year still? Minimum 3 months to a year. So when you launch, you're pretty much not going to rank in Google for the first 3 months to a year. You will not. Google has a sandbox that they put you in just to make sure that you're a legitimate site. You're not a spam site. You're not a crazy site. Porn.
Buy your way into that though with AdWords?
You can. You absolutely can. That's
But if you get a link from a
reputable, high-quality site.
Yeah, a reputable, high-quality site that's linking to you would get you out faster. But the question was, sorry, what's your name?
Whether you as Ryan, but yeah,
Ryan was asking.
Buy your way on.
Yeah, so I always say that. I call it balancing paid and organic search. So yeah, buy all the keywords you want, and then as your traffic starts going, you can start balancing it. A lot of times, what happens though when you do that is you just keep the keywords because it's so minimal to have. And what the hell? Why not have the space? And by the way, if you're sucking in Google AdWords, they boot you off anyway, so don't worry. If your clicks aren't performing, it's not like you're going to stay there. They will boot you. This is probably the most important thing anybody in this room who's trying to monetize their site should be looking at, which is affiliate marketing. Because we only have 2 minutes, what I'll say is if you go to IT Conversations, Paul Cooligan gave a speech at the podcast, I think it's the Portable Media Expo. I'm not sure. Paul Cooligan. And it's a podcast all about how to monetize your podcast. And it is absolutely awesome in terms of understanding affiliate marketing. Affiliate marketing, just really quick, do you want to explain it?
Yeah, sure. Well, it's basically, you can get paid for marketing somebody else's products and services. And if it's a product or service that's directly related to your show, it's an easy fit. To give you an example, I have a blog about marketing stuff. Well, there's a company, Marketing Sherpa, that sells these metrics guides. And so I have an ad up on my site for them. The guide costs like $295. I get $75 for every one that gets sold when they click through my site. So, and there's trade shows that will pay up to $500, $1,000 per close deals.
That's a great story. Paul Cooligan does this. I don't know if you ever heard of The Big Show. It's like this big online marketing show that they put on in Vegas. $2,000 to attend. The affiliate rate is $1,000. So if you get someone to sign up through your affiliate link, it's $1,000. So not only was he putting this stuff on his site, he actually went out and bought domains like Big Show Live and Big Show Vegas. He bought all these domains. So he was getting Google ranked ahead sometimes of the show. And he was getting all sorts of crazy things. So, I mean, it depends how psychotic you want to go. I'm not really into that for my podcast. It's not the purpose. The purpose of my podcast is to establish me as the sort of recognized authority, I guess. But there's so many ways to leverage affiliate marketing. The best way to describe it is you're a traffic cop for money. You're standing at the crossroads, someone's trying to go left, you say, stop, if you want this, you got to pay for it, and I get a little bit of a cut for it, and off they go. And that's all it is. If you talk about a book, be an affiliate link for that. If you talk about an audio file, link it into Audible. All of these companies have affiliate programs, and people are clicking on them on your site anyways. They're happy. A lot of times, too, and I love transparency, saying, all the stuff that you're going to see me talk about, I'm not being paid for, but if you buy it through here, I will get a cut of it. It helps support hosting or whatever. You can be really transparent about it. Cafe Press, if you want to do merchandise, you're an affiliate there too. Have t-shirts made for your podcast. People buy it, great. And by the way, if it starts working, according to Paul Cooligan, you should probably do them on your own because Cafe Press takes a huge cut. But Paul Cooligan, I think it's called, if you send me an email, mitch@twistimage.com, I'll send you the link with my pleasure.
I don't like Cafe Press's quality anyway. I have a Cafe Press
Yeah.
before.
Oh, Spreadshirt?
Yeah.
Spreadshirt?
For my really good stuff, I have a local supplier
Yeah.
to get it done.
But I think the point is that if you just want to test it out to see if people would buy it, it's a great place to start, and then you probably want to jet from there. Yeah. So, Google Cafe Press and reviews and see what else pops up. We have no time left, but measure your traffic. Be watching your stuff. Make sure you know what's happening. Leave audio comments. That's a huge thing, by the way, to promote your podcast. Leaving a comment on someone else's.
Yeah, no, I mean, let's hit the rest of us.
Sorry. Leave comments on other people's podcasts. Monitor, right? Technorati, all this stuff. See what's working for you guys. Online PR. This was a great example of Julian getting some great PR out of another blog. A great initiative. It works, right? You get tons more traffic from it. It's free. People are happy to do it if they think you're doing something special. Business cards. I saw a whole bunch of people who have business cards and some who don't. Get them made. I love Just One More Book, right? It's got bookmarks. It's great ideas. Just another little trick, by the way. Just One More Book. So he's got these what do they call it? Bookmarks. I'm losing my mind today. Thank you. Here. So what could he do with these beyond give them out here? If I was him, I'd be at the world's biggest bookstore next door and be putting this in all the kids' books. Carry a bunch of them on you. Go to Indigo, dump them into marketing books if you have a marketing podcast. Get people to know about it. Like, get Gorilla. Do word of mouth, real word of mouth. So it's powerful. Questions? We have not much time, but it's the end of the day. So if you don't want to take off or whatever, we'll stick around for questions.
Just one quick one. When you said make it easy for people, I know that when I receive podcasts and blog lives, like Inside PR, I can just hit play and listen to it right there. But in other ones, I have to go to the site, click this. How do I get that little player right inside the feed reader?
Anyone know?
That's before or after the more. Like if I want it in my feed, I can make you come to my site so you can be impressed by my ads.
Right.
So that's why it's not available, I think.
But I think he's talking about the Flash player.
The Flash player in
If
Google?
If you have a WordPress blog, there's a plugin called PodPress.
PodPress,
Basically just
a player.
put the MP3 file and it'll stick that Flash player in there.
But not if the publisher of that file wants you to come to the site to see it.
Two great books, by the way. I'm not being paid, and I have no affiliate links on this, but Jason Van Orden, Promoting Your Podcast. There's some really good stuff in there. It's not very technical. I had a good quick read of it. I enjoyed it. And this one I just read by Ted Demopoulos, Blogging and Podcasting. I just thought it was really good. It's not the sort of technical ones like how to edit and stuff like that. It's really about marketing it and just sort of tactics you can use. So you should grab those. And if you want to find me, this is where you can find me and John. That's it. You can come and see us if you have more questions. I don't mind sticking around, but sticking to time here. Thanks.